mission is to put your hands behind your back and to stand on those colored tiles, right? And not move and not speak until the educator told you to move. Silently through the hallway as to not disturb anyone, right? This is the kind of culture that is being perpetuated in the South. And so, I really appreciate what J-Lo said, because I believe we change the culture, we change the politics, right? And that we have to have a collective liberation movement that includes all those piece parts, right? The teachers who are critically important, the students who are like the reason that we're having this conversation, and the community that's impacted by the success or failure of this liberatory movement that is IDEC, right? So it's important that we get to this place so that we can talk about how we work together to build that collective action. I think having, as media makers and for any of you and artists that are in the space, like, we desperately need you, right? Because we don't actually need you to give us voice. We have that. We can use it. We're really good at it. The International Storytelling Festival happens in Tennessee. We're good at that. What we want is power. And what we need is the ability to get our narrative out to the choir and to others that aren't in the choir yet to be able to change the material conditions that we live in.
Kind of interesting to listen to, because I'm not as familiar with the American situation as I am with elsewhere. But I thought that after listening to all of you that I would bring up a somewhat different issue, which is that I guess schools exist because parents would like to send their children somewhere. You don't want the children hanging around at home, so you've got to send them somewhere. So that place has to be safe, and it has to have certain characteristics. So for a school to exist at all, it has to keep the parent happy. So you don't have a choice there. What does the parent want? The parent wants a polite, socially acceptable child to come out of the school, presumably capable of producing some nice grandchildren. So the school has to meet those conditions. You don't have a choice. In order for the school to exist, the government has to let you. So you have to keep the government happy. What does the government want? The government wants children, but they don't want exactly what the parents want. They want most of it, but they want a little bit more. Yes, they want honest, upright, polite people. They also want people who will stay in the duck position when told to. Okay, that's very important in any kind, whether it's democracy or it's totalitarian. For a government to run 300, 400 million people, they have to have that condition that you must teach them to stay in the duck position when told. So you have to teach that, because otherwise they close you down. So then, what's missing? So you've got the institution where you have to meet the expectations of the parent, you have to meet the expectations of the government. No matter what you as an educator want to do, you don't have a choice in those two matters. You surprisingly don't have to meet the expectations of the possible employer, because nobody cares about it. He doesn't pay for the school. And, so you don't care about him, so you're not going to design for the employer. Which is what's happening. So the employer finally takes the product from the school and says, what's this? Then, he's applied for a job in this high-tech company, and he says, and you ask him, what are you good at? And he says, I have good handwriting, my spelling is perfect, and I can recite the multiplication tables. So what? so because people design. Why didn't we design? Because it's of no interest to me to keep the employer. If I do teach multiplication tables, handwriting, and spelling, parents are happy and the government's happy. Okay, so I've met my goal. You don't have a choice. And then finally, what goes wrong is that we're not going to meet the expectations of one large body of people, who are the peers of the children. What do the peers want you to be? I suppose the peers, one word description would be they want you to be cool. No school is designed to be cool. It just doesn't factor. So you're not designing for the peers, the people he's going
students are going to change schools. The more I keep on engaging these high school students, they know everything that's wrong with the school system. And they have ideas, and they come up with plans. You know, you don't have to tell them. They say, we want teachers who are educated, we want teachers who are certified, we want teachers who actually believe in the human spirit, we want teachers who don't just see this as a job, we want teachers who believe that we have the capacity to build something new, you know. So the change will come from children, from students, and it also come from parents, right? Because you have a lot of parents who get more and more frustrated with the testing, with all the psychological effects of having their kids forced to, take these tests, and they end up, being embarrassed and humiliated when they fail, and so these deep concerns are starting to rise up, and parents are starting to lead a new movement against some of the more abusive practices of the standardized school system. So I think the grassroots is where to look at. We shouldn't look for it, in the Ivy League, because at the end of the day, when you get parents and students, they know exactly what's wrong, they don't know what to do to fix it.
Yes, can I co-sign on that? I so agree. Thank you for saying that. I think it's us, right? Like, who's going to change it? We are. Everybody here. And I think it is, in my opinion, it's small, it's grassroots, it's community, it's indigenous leadership, because, regionally, people know what they need in their community. Every place you go is different across the board, right? So in my opinion, it's community-based, indigenous-led movements for social justice and racial justice, period, including in education. But I think, and it's all of our responsibilities, right? You guys are all here for a reason. You all care about it. So there is power in power is organized people, time, and money, right? So let's organize the people. Let's get our time straight. Let's get clear on our ideals, our models, our methodology, what we care about, and then let's activate. Let's strategize. What does this look like city by city, community by community? So I think the answer lies with us.
Yeah, times 3. I think very much that, in my opinion, students are already taking the lead on this, right? You got the schools, like fun schools, not jails, process is happening. I think the young people that have been here at this IDec have held it down. And so I think they're pushing us to shut up and listen to them. I really wish some of them were here on this coffee talk. I think that, for me, how I feel is that I think the tension